Hello, I'm Dwayne Wentworth, the great-grandson of our city's first mayor. My mom, Alicia Wentworth, was our city's first female city clerk. She lived our city's history, becoming our first city historian after her retirement. She was interviewed for several episodes of the '90s series, Your City, Your Issues, sharing early photos and relating to our city's past. In this episode, she shares our city's buildings from schools to the fire station, the arches, the speedway, and more. Please enjoy this remarkable episode of FlasHBack.
We welcome you to Your City, Your Issues, a program designed to keep you, the viewer, in touch with the operation of your city government, your elected officials, and the issues that affect each of us as residents of the city of Huntington Beach. So why don't you introduce our special guest for today?
Yes, Flint, and my office got awful good comments about Alicia's show last time, too.
Right.
We had them coming in and we told Alicia, and I know she was happy about it, too. And Alicia was city clerk in our city for 15 years and in the city clerk's office for 27 years. And she was appointed the city historian right after she left office. And when was it, Alicia?
1988.
1988. So Alicia is formally city historian for the city. And I brought a card today sort of to show the community's appreciation to Alicia for all the work she does every week in the city clerk's office, going through all the history, the photographs, labeling them, meeting with all the interested people that come in, right, Alicia? Right. We have students come in, and a lot of times older people come in wanting, they've moved back to the city or they just come back to visit.
Whatever happened to, that sort of thing.
Yes, and Alicia just has 2 big file cabinets in the office full of all sorts of items she's categorizing. So this is a note that came in last week from Pete Snessinger, and he just retired as history teacher from Marina High School. And may I read it, Flint?
Absolutely.
It says, Dear Alicia, I'm retiring as a teacher at Marina High School, but I wanted to thank you for all the help you gave my students in their Huntington Beach project. Not only were your presentations great, but all the information you left us was so helpful. You will be interested to know that with your help, our projects were so good that Bosnia TV made a video about it. Since that time, Mexico, Russia, and 3 or 4 other countries are going to make a TV show about how to study local government. Disney made a film too, and when I get a copy, I'll let you see it. Thanks, Pete Snessinger.
Fabulous, fabulous. What a tribute to a wonderful lady.
That was nice.
Alicia, it's really good to have you on the show again, and
Thank
your
you.
background experience really came to the forefront on our last show, and you went through and explained a lot of the photographs that you've collected. I happened to be able to sit down with Alicia and go through some of those photographs, and you have really a stack of old photographs, which brings me to another point. If there's any of you out there that do have photographs of old Huntington Beach and you would like to bring them down, Alicia will make sure that they're copied and given back to you in excellent shape, no problem at all. And you even went to Kinko's and been using the new process down there and getting
laser.
some really good prints from the
Excellent
laser.
prints.
Yes, absolutely. So again, we make that appeal to you right at the offset of the show, and I think you'll see why as we go through and look at some of these photographs. Alicia, anything you want to say before we get started here?
Not really. I think the picture says it all.
Okay, well, why don't we start off with the first one. We're going to go back in time to the early 1900s to start with, and then we'll go through a couple of stages, and we may even come back and do another show that'll bring us pretty much up to date. So why don't we go ahead and get started with the first one and see what we have coming up over here on the monitor. We can talk about that. This is obviously an old schoolhouse, starting with the old belfry. Why don't you tell us about it, Alicia?
This is the Ocean View Elementary School. and this was taken around the turn of the century. It was built in the late 1800s, about 1875, I believe. And it remained there until they built the next Ocean View School, which was quite a few years.
Now, the term Ocean View School District came from the fact that they could see the ocean, could they not? Tell us about that.
Right. There was no, it is a high point, and there was no buildings on Beach and Warner, and it was just a clear view of the ocean on a clear day.
Now there's a big 13-story
Now you can't
building.
see next door.
That's right. So Ocean View, the name Ocean View derived from the fact that you could see the ocean from up there on Beach and Warner. Now Warner was called something else during that period of time.
Wintersburg.
Wintersburg, right. And it went all the way down to what is now Bolsa Chica State Beach and joined in where now President Warner goes into PCH.
Right.
What do we have here?
One of the earliest combination baggage car and passenger car. You can see express baggage and passenger service in the back of it. So that would have probably been in the very, very earliest years.
It's the old PE red cars that used to come through from up in Long Beach and connect up to Los Angeles. Yeah, quite a deal. And there was quite a story about Huntington and bringing those cars down here.
Right, Henry Huntington.
There was a few bucks that exchanged hands, I think.
Oh yes, it was. Of course, was political.
Sure.
The city's name changed the day the train came in.
And that was about 1905. Is that
1904?
Right.
And it was. It coincided with our first parade on the 4th of July.
That's right.
1904.
That first 4th of July and was dedicated.
You remember?
I was there. No, that was really outstanding. We've got an interior shot here. This must be because of the 4th or something. And this is the old library?
The Dale Carnegie Library that was built in 1914, 1915.
And that was before the city took over.
At 8th and Walnut.
You know, I was looking at the flags and I was trying to figure out how many stars were on there. And all I can figure out is, you're right, it would probably be about 1914 or so, just before Arizona and New Mexico became states, judging by the number of stars on there. So instead of 48, there were 46 stars on those flags. So yeah, interesting. And I was trying to figure out from that picture that was in the center of the two flags just who it was, and my best guess was Grant, but Grant would have been president well before then, so I'm not sure who it was. We've got another school coming up here. Which one is this?
This is the first Huntington Beach Elementary School that was Pacific City's early school.
Yes.
It was built on the property that eventually became the Civic Center downtown.
Oh, on 5th and Main.
Yes, not actually between 5th and 6th.
Right.
Right down at the corner of 5th
Right.
and Orange. And that school remained until they built the brick one that went down in the earthquake.
That's another shot of it. This is a little later on. I can see that they've developed it a little bit. They have foliage out in front, trees, palm trees growing and so forth. Not quite as barren as it was on that first shot. Interesting shot. Two-story schools. You don't see many two-story schools anymore, that's for sure. Not in earthquake country.
No.
Now we're right in the middle of the old, and these are the wooden derricks, aren't they?
These are the old wooden derricks. This is the only picture I have of the elementary school that went down in the earthquake.
And
I would love to have other pictures of it, but I just do not have them.
And that was known as the Long Beach earthquake. In actuality, they find out now it was the Huntington Harbor earthquake, because that was where the epicenter was, in Huntington Harbor, where those fault lines run through. So you can see, even during that period of time, when the kids went to school, there were obviously certain olfactory odors and so forth that prevailed upon them while they were going to school, with those oil wells pumping right outside their back door. What do we got coming up next? We have, this is the old Huntington Beach pool, isn't it?
It's a city-owned pool now. It used to be owned by the school district.
I see.
But the school district couldn't bring it up to state code, so the city took it over.
And now, it's a historical landmark.
Is it? I didn't realize that.
I think they made it into.
Yeah.
I was interested with that kind of dome ceiling that seemed to be so prevalent with gyms and so forth that were built.
They were.
Now, when was this built? When was the pool built? In the 30s or late 20s?
Probably in that area. I'd guess probably the early 30s.
And of course, we'd encourage anyone that knows some exact dates, and I'm sure that there are those Huntington Beach historians out there that
That would
are probably
know.
saying, "Oh, that was 1932 or something like that."
A lot of people remember when they were swimming there.
Now they had the pool here. They also had the plunge down at the pier, so there was,
Correct.
and then they had the ocean for swimming, so they had quite a
Right.
few opportunities for swimming.
Right,
But this was a school's pool.
that's right.
That was very interesting. Oh my gosh!
That was the school that went down in the earthquake in the background, tell by the windows.
Okay,
That's Norm Worthy there in the center of the picture,
to the far left,
in the middle of the picture,
right now. Oh,
just getting ready to go out of the picture.
oh, for heaven's sake!
That was at 3rd or 4th grade, but
It
that was
looks-
taken in
yeah.
1933,
And-
right before the
And there I
earthquake.
am standing right there
Yeah,
in
it
the
looks
center
like
right
it. That was 1933.
That is amazing. So the earthquake came along in 37?
33,
33.
that
Oh,
very
okay.
year.
Yeah, so that shook the timbers and brought it all down. Now there was a story about there was
Custodian.
Was it 6 o'clock at night when it occurred. But
Correct.
there was a custodian. still
Custodian
inside.
was in the building, and he grabbed for a pillar and hung on tight, and that's the only thing that saved his
Wow.
life. And he wasn't seriously
Fortunate to
injured.
do so.
Here's the old City Hall.
Now there's the old city hall there.
That's
now,
the Memorial Hall building, the 5th Street entrance
now,
before they...
did they build that out of the same stone that they used for like out at Santa Ana, that red stone? It seemed to me that there was some reddish coloring in that. Do you?
I really don't know. I really
It's
don't.
kind of a reddish sandstone or something.
It was brick underneath that cement.
So it was a brick building with its facade on it.
That's
Now that was originally built in about what? What year?
1923.
23. Wow.
The engineering department, planning department, building departments were all upstairs, and the rest were downstairs. The
Oh.
police department was to the left of the stairs.
Now, when you were city clerk, you were still in this building, right?
Yes, I was, when I was first city clerk, I was in the right side of the building there.
Right, this right hand.
And
way
then
over
we
here.
moved over into the Memorial Hall building for a few
This
years.
is probably a little later shot, showing the same thing at a little longer distance, and it must have been a day that City Hall wasn't open because I see the flagpole is vacant.
Very,
Whenever
very
a public
true.
building is open, the
The
flag is
would be-
usually displayed. Yes.
Right.
So now this is which end?
That's the 6th Street entrance to the Memorial Hall building after they put a new facade on and moved it from 5th Street.
I see Chamber of Commerce office right there.
Correct.
And that's the type of thing that you would see typically on the WPA projects, that Art Deco type.
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah, with it looks like the American Eagle over on the column on the far right.
It is.
And
They were matching.
see, it looks like probably about a middle 40s car there. I can't, Dodge or Plymouth? I'm not sure exactly which one. But yeah, and it was interesting too because having been in there a few times before they started tearing it down, it really was kind of a grand building. As I mentioned once before, I had a propensity, I think, for getting tickets, speeding tickets and so forth, and that's when the judge was seated here. And
Right,
she was
Celia
municipal-
Baker.
Right, Celia Baker, municipal court judge.
Right.
And I'd have to go in and plead my case before her.
That's where we held our council meetings,
Oh,
was in
is
that
right?
chamber.
Same chamber. Well, here we have the fire department. Look at those modern vehicles that they were driving then. This
With a
must
brand
be-
new fire department.
You're really, now again, a very good example of the decor of that period of time. That deco type thing. We see the rounded portions there with the kind of built-in lights, and that was the first time I think that we saw much of the built-in lighting that they have. And I think one of these old fire engines, we'll see, this one that's just coming up right now, perhaps, is the one that we have a little better shot of a little later on. Those are what old Fords and Rios and Dodges and that sort of thing.
That was 1939.
Is that when it was?
And that's when they would have probably changed the entrance of the Memorial Hall building.
Oh, okay. Now, there was another small building that came in between, which was a temporary building. I can remember it had walkways up the side, and I don't remember what that was.
That was
between that and the library.
Some of the planning department
Oh, is that
eventually
what-
was out in
oh, I
that.
see.
They were trailers.
Good place for them. Put them out in the back areas.
Right.
No, I'm
In fact,
kidding.
the attorneys had some offices out in one of the trailers too.
Well, I can remember going to council meetings that were down in the basement, and by the time that they had built the dais in there, these people were standing with the ceiling just a little over their head, and I thought it was a pretty uncomfortable.
Cramped.
Because they had dropped the ceiling down and everything. It was pretty cramped quarters down there. We should have something coming up next that was part of the industry of Huntington Beach at that time. As we know, Huntington Beach was a very agricultural area as well as being an oil industry area, and this is part of the old Dole refining.
The Holly Sugar,
Holly Sugar, yes.
Holly Sugar Beet Factory and Refinery.
And the center part that you're looking at right now, the higher structure, was completely torn down, leaving the smaller structure, and I think myself included, many people thought that was nothing more than a railroad station, but there was a railroad spur that went in right through that area so that they could back in the open cars, gondola type cars, and load them up with the sugar beets. Sugar beets, lima beans, celery. What else did they have growing here at that time that was?
Well, practically everything that this ground could grow, because that was our major industry in the early 1900s.
Yeah, very rich ground
Very
too.
rich.
And because being on the floodplain, all of that had silted down from other areas was really the topsoil, which gave them really a good growing area.
Oh, that was prime growing.
And I think right after this we have a shot of the process where they're actually loading the sugar beets up, and you'll see the old drays in the back. You can see them lined up with the horse-drawn drays back there, open carts. And I think what they do, judging from this photo, is the horses move on up this walkway area to a certain point, and then these sugar beets are all dumped into the railroad gondola cars.
Right.
I like to have the job of this guy over here on the right-hand side. That looks like a neat job.
The left-hand side looks good too.
Yeah, that's not too bad. One guy is backing into it and holding up the railing, and the other guy's got his hand there holding it. But you can see there must be, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, half a dozen there, and then in the background another 3 or 4
all lined up.
drays waiting to come in and unload their sugar beets. As is typical, the city of Huntington Beach was always kind of a place to go to have fun. And we've got some good shots of the old pavilion, not the pavilion, but the pavilion. And there it is right there, and it's all
Yes, it
dressed
was
up for
originally-
Christmas.
Right, built. That was probably the first Christmas after its construction.
Is that right?
It was built in '39.
Now, was that City of Huntington Beach sign right on the pavilion itself? Or
Yes,
was it, okay.
originally.
Well, if we look closely, we can see the Christmas tree. We can also
Peace
see
on Earth.
reindeer on here.
Right.
Yes, and that sign says Peace on Earth over that picket fence that's off to the far left of the photo. And this would have been, again, what year about?
About 1940.
Okay, just before the war started. And that was quite a time, too, because that place was, now, at that time, was it a roller skating rink or dance hall? Or just
Dance hall, Diamond Dance.
Oh, is that right?
Before and
Is
during
that
the
right? Well, I know
during the
they-
war, it was a Diamond Dance.
Oil workers
They
used
called
to
it.
enjoy going down there, and I can remember stories of the fathers going down there and trying to get their daughters out because they weren't supposed to be down there dancing. This is what 1904 or 5? Somewhere
Yes,
in-
that's the first parade.
Oh, that's the first parade. Okay. Oh, neat hats. Which one is Bill Gallion? Oh, he's not there yet. He was associated with the parade for so many years. There were a lot of white hats in there. And following this one, we also have part of the parade that many people have heard about but not really seen, and the photo that we have up here to demonstrate that is not a very good one, but if you look very closely, you'll be able to see Franklin Delano Roosevelt seated in the back of this, right behind the gentleman in the white hat. You can just make out his features there in this old Packard touring car, it looks like. So that was 1937?
1938.
Okay, so he would have been running for election
That's
at
right.
that point in time.
That's right.
And that would have been running for his third term. Third term in office. Yeah, and so here again, part of the history of Huntington Beach is our 4th of July parade, and that was a good example of having someone that is of national prominence. And we notice also that they didn't have bulletproof cars, and they didn't have, the enclosed portions and all that. You didn't see Secret Service agents walking next to the car and all that sort of thing. Very, very different period in our life.
They were there, but they were subtly there.
Just subtly there. Newport Beach has its arches, but we had our arches here in Huntington Beach, and this is a great photograph of Christmas down there. You want to describe that, Alicia?
That's Pacific Coast Highway, which was Ocean Avenue
Ocean
at the
Avenue,
time,
yeah.
and Main Street at the pier.
And that's a
the arches-
Chevron gas station right there?
Yes, the old Standard.
Oh, Standard.
Standard Oil. That was built in 1933, and corrosion forced its being taken down in 1942.
Oh, I see. Well, yeah, I would imagine. Here's another shot
There's the
Undecorated,
railroad.
yeah, and there's the old PE station right
depot.
there. Yeah. Now that again looks like it would be the maybe taken in the 40s.
Yes.
Yeah, late 30s, or for judging by the car that's going
Yeah,
by.
there's 3 sets of railroad tracks there at that time.
With a pavilion in the background.
Mm-hmm.
We had some pictures, we think that El Nino was tough on us this year, but we've had some areas down here that were so flooded out, it was absolutely ludicrous. And our next shot will show that. Now, this is kind of like, hey folks, we're out there to pump out the ocean from the ocean. I can't believe this. Now, this would be about where?
Probably taken from Beach Boulevard across to Costa Mesa. Solid water. The Santa Ana River overflowed in 1939. Every winter when it rained, the water would stay put until spring, but before it would start drying up. But this was a storm that damaged the pier, did a lot of damage.
What are we seeing in the background there? It almost looks like, the reason I thought it was the ocean, it looks like a breakwater back there.
No, what you're seeing is the hills of Costa Mesa.
Is that right?
The bluff.
Oh, the mesa over there.
Yes,
yeah,
that's
right.
the mesa.
We're going to kind of wrap things up on this program today by looking at a shot here of another very entertaining area in Huntington Beach. And tell us what that is, Alicia.
That's the Talbot Racetrack, and I recently was able to copy this particular photo that shows probably the grand opening of it. And that's Atlanta behind, Beach Boulevard to the right, PCH in the foreground.
Okay, so Beach, if we look at the very, very top right there, that would be Beach Boulevard up
Correct.
there? Okay, and then Talbot is at the very top of the photo?
No, Talbot
down
was
this
the
side?
person that built the
No,
track.
I realize.
But,
Okay, I'm trying to.
But the street was Atlanta.
Oh, Atlanta. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, and it does look like an opening day. It looks like there are people in the stands, cars parked on the outside, and you can see the stands off to the left, that kind of darkened area. There seems to be something going on in the center, and it looked like some sort of activities, and I wasn't sure whether it was like a start of a motorcycle race
Or a parade.
Or a parade.
It was hard to tell.
Very, very difficult to tell, but very interesting shots. So we covered a period here. That would have been, what year was that built? Do you
That
think?
would have been probably built in the early 30s.
So we covered a span here of the early 1900s up to the 1930s. And it's interesting also that in going back in time, we see the change of Huntington Beach from the oil, agricultural, and maybe the next time around we can show a little bit more of the growth that's occurring and some of the things that were taking place here in Huntington Beach that make it what is now the city of Huntington Beach. And probably the reason for the name Surf City. We want to thank you, Alicia, for being with us again. That was
thank you,
really
Flint.
outstanding. Connie, again, thank you for coming
Yes.
down and bringing Alicia with us. We have so many years here of city clerk people that it's really great to have you both here.